This is a video on recruiting survivors for your community. A couple tips. Now this group here, I did the find survivors option. If you do that, you will get an actual, not somebody that's just running around the map, you'll get an actual group of people that'll be friendly right off the bat. But how do you know? I did figure out also that in order to recruit people from any place, they have to be a lot allied. So it goes from friendly to allied if you do tasks for them. Anything below allied, you can't recruit. And if you recruit, it breaks up their thing, but that's the whole point of finding good survivors. Now, how do you know a bad survivor from a good survivor that you want? Now, you can't get the traits, okay? But you can learn about the survivor. And do you see this guy here? He's gonna try to focus this better. But his name's Hot Dog. But you see how he has 59 health and 130 stamina. Now looking at his stats, they're all gonna have cardio, wits, fighting, and shooting, and then an extra one. Now something, just default, without any stars in any of these, a survivor should have 100 and 100. Anything above, taking stamina above, means they have a positive trait. Anything below means they have a negative. So this guy definitely has something negative on his health, because his health is not even 60. So he has something that's boosting his stamina, one of his traits, but I don't want this guy because there's something wrong with his health. If you look at, I'll go to this guy, and even the leaders of the group doesn't usually necessarily mean they're the best one to recruit. You see this guy, he's got 104 to 106, so that's normal because he's got his wits up, but he's got a pretty good skill bartending. And also I usually try to stick with people with 3 traits because they usually don't get a 4th unless you from a book or something. And the reason why I go for a survivor with 3 traits is because I've had too many times when I recruit somebody with 2 traits and then I'm driving and they start talking and then that is some like side story they get and it'll give them a 3rd trait. And a lot of times the 3rd trait will be bad. So I usually don't pick survivors. I make sure they have 2 traits. Like this guy's also, like I'm saying, he's 100-100. That's perfect. That's what they should have default, the 100-100. Another thing I learned, and I'll show, I'm going to have to cut it here, but when you recruit somebody, what the first thing you want to do is after they say yes, you want to look at them here and look at their traits. Okay? And you want to look immediately at their traits. And if their traits are not good, don't even take them back to your base. Just highlight them and hit exile.
Exactly helping me finish up, but maybe you can.
Yeah, this.
Yay!
That's another thing. Talking is sometimes hard to do. So what you want to do, because sometimes there'll be a zombie around, what I like to do is I hit A and then do exactly what, hit Y to talk, and then immediately A. Whatever it is, just to agree. That way you can get the mission started, or else you'll be stuck fighting zombies and all kinds of garbage. And the mission, their side quest hasn't even started yet, so that's really, really annoying. This one is protect the survivor, so, or let them, what I like to do for these is I close the doors. Makes it harder for these. And also, if I haven't scavenged this house, or if you haven't, it's a good time to do it. So while she's searching, you want to search as well. But I've already scavenged this house. And this is what I like to do. So this is why I close the door. And I can run through it, and then smash him. And I go back in, and I close it right on his face.
You're all right in my book. I don't suppose you
Ah.
know of any groups looking
Perfect.
for recruits?
So, I hate when they do this. She ran in the house to fight a zombie or something, or whatever the hell she's doing. Where'd she go? Alright. So this is So before you allow them to join, you want to learn, right? So this is what I'm talking about. She has 104 because she's hurt and 106. So I know she doesn't have a negative, at least for those 10, but she only has 2 traits. But one good thing, she doesn't have a 5th skill, so I can teach her utility. So I'm going to take her in, recruit her, and then after you recruit somebody,
Come on. We've got beds and bread.
you immediately want to do this. You want to immediately go to that person and check their traits. See, so far good. I'm gonna, you saw that, had 2 traits, nothing negative. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna see if it's gonna do what I was talking about it does. I'm gonna go back to my base, and if she starts talking, this is when they usually try to tell you little stories and things. And this is when usually another trait will come out of them, if they have it. But what you could do is, say she had bad traits, you don't have to return home with her. I could go right to that screen, and that makes it easier, and exile her from here, and then since she's following me, just talk to her and exile her. It's the best way. Or what I like to do if the survivor is garbage, even if they're garbage, if they took a rucksack or something, I'll take them back to the base, switch control to them, take the rucksack, take all their weapons and their ammo, then exile them. This is what you have to do in the apocalypse. It's a cold world, I know. And they love to, look at all my cars, man. I'm like a dealership. Alright, come on. Let's go.
Who is that emergency phone call friend?
Oh,
You drove
shit.
all the way to Vegas at 2
See?
a.m.
This is what I'm talking about.
After it failed,
I know it just gave her another trait. I know it did. Let's see. You see this? You see how she had 2 and now she has 3? Oh, but she got a good one. Thank God. Thank God. But do you see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. When you're taking them back to your base, if they start talking, that means another trait is being added. You need to take a look at that immediately to see if it's good or bad. This one is actually a good survivor. That you saw, that was actually a great trait that they gave her. Dependable friend. For this thing's not easily frustrated. This is like a perfect. I usually get the worst survivors, but this is a perfect survivor.
Leave a bullet.
thank you. Like, seriously. Thanks.
But that's what I'm talking about with
Supplies delivered as promised.
the trickery that they'll do with the skills, the traits. Alright, another thing I wanted to mention about recruiting a person is very important. You want to look at their 4 basic traits, the ones that they start with. I think, yeah, cardio, wits, fighting, and shooting, and make sure they can go to 7 stars. If they cannot go to 7 stars, that skill cannot be upgraded, and you're going to be stuck with someone like this. See this? His fighting only goes to 6, so I can't get the 7 star, which is needed to upgrade the skill. So never. He has some decent other skills. That's the only reason I'm probably going to get rid of him. But you definitely don't. So when you learn about the survivors, make sure even though they're grayed out, they have 7 stars in each of those 4. This guy has cooking, but as I mentioned, something is wrong with his traits. Something's messing up his health. So I definitely don't want him. Yeah, so I'm gonna take this guy. Let's hope.
You do better with us than being stuck here.
Yeah,
with these folks.
it messes up the, but I don't care. So now he's
All
gone,
this nothing.
but he's already in the base. Guaranteed, he's already in the base. So now, let's hope that he had good. Yeah, see, he doesn't. He's gonna get kicked out. He has that, but long-suffering martyr. But see, this is what you got to watch out for. That's why I always try to do it when they have 3 skills. If he was following me right now, I'd exile him, but I can't. He's already gone back to the base, but always you want to try to recruit somebody that has... I mean, you can do the 2 skills, and if you get lucky like I did, they don't change it to a bad skill, but I've had too many times when they have 2 skills. I'm driving the survivor back to my enclave, and they start talking, and they get a negative skill. That's like one of the first times I've had them have a positive skill from that. But I'm gonna do it again because I got so much influence. I'm gonna do the same thing. Find other survivors.
Look, you know I'll keep at this until someone answers. I am exactly that annoying, so...
So that's what it does when you spend stuff on finding survivors. It doesn't just find a survivor. It finds a whole base of them. So you get a pick of like 3. But it's not much. 150 influence, you can earn that in like couple infestations.